And then when we came back from Norway, we started to work on some of the cosmetic rust issues that we had that didn't affect the yearly inspection of roadworthiness, but still were some nagging rust issues. So we dealt with those, and at the same time then we painted the lower half of the vehicle with the rubberized paint and gave it a bit of a two-tone look with this black that you see now. And while we were at it, we installed a small window into the sliding door. We'd noticed that it was a bit too dark inside. We'd originally decided not to install any windows because we wanted to be as stealth as possible. But honestly, that isn't really an issue, so we decided comfort comes first. We wanted a window so that we get some more light in the living area when needed, and also we can get some more air circulation without having to open the doors. So here's a few pictures of the painting process and installing the window. We were doing it in the autumn in a semi-warm or lukewarm hall, which is Anna's uncle's, and there wasn't much light there, so we didn't really film at all. We just took a few pictures of the process. Hello again. We're planning a trip at least to Lapland in February, and maybe, depending on whatever the situation with COVID is, maybe then further south. But we've got again a list of things we want to get done before we start hitting the road again, or before the summer. But basically, if we hit the road now for a longer time, we need to get them done. So I've been slowly picking away at them, and of course, since it's midwinter in Finland and -8 at the moment, and it's been colder and warmer and snowing and all of that, it's a bit difficult to do all of the work in our yard. So what I've done now is I'm on call, which means that the van can be at the firehouse and I can go there and work. Unfortunately, due to the COVID situation, Anna can't join me, so I have to do everything by myself. Okay, modern day Ramin here again. So I was talking there that we're thinking of taking a trip after Lapland into Central Europe, or Southern Europe in fact, in the winter of 2022, depending on the COVID situation. When we were preparing to leave for Lapland, the plan was to continue on from Lapland then into Sweden and then down into Spain. We were feeling a bit uneasy about the COVID situation and just generally felt like we don't want to go. And all in all, it turned out to be a really good decision, because pretty much on the date that we were planning on arriving in Spain, Russia intensified its attacks on Ukraine and put the security situation of Europe and especially Finland into a totally new light. So we were very happy that we weren't across Europe, far away from home at that point of time. And the list we have to do is fairly long. Some of them have been done beforehand, and some of the others I need to work on now. So some of the stuff is already done. By the time I'm recording this, of course, some of them you'll see later on in the video because I did them yesterday or last night, but then there's still quite a bit of stuff to do before we hit the road. Okay, so we left this little corner in the dog compartment or under the bed for the dogs, but now that we've never really used the whole space for 3 dogs, we've only had a maximum of 2, we decided to build it into another cupboard to get some extra storage space, especially now that we're starting to spend more and more time in the van. In addition to working on the new cabinet, we wanted to shorten the doors and the cabinets here and the next cabinet over, because we have a nice Persian carpet that we could use and then have the cabinet doors still be able to open. So because our toilet used to be down here and this shelf was up here and the toilet paper and everything else was on top, I had to drop that shelf down. And of course our water system here causes some issues, but now everything there is done and the toilet fits like so. And now then it's just to put the spacers down here and down there and then reattach the doors. The new cabinet is also progressing. I did all of the pass-throughs for the various ducts, one shelf, because that duct is directly connected to the outside air. Put an insulated system around it. Now I need to put another shelf in and then model the doors, but the problem is that we ran out of short screws, so I'll need to finish that door then when we get more short screws. Well, running out of daylight. Well, it's been dark for quite a while, but it's already quite late on a Sunday and time to continue later on then, but got the second shelf installed. The door installation has to wait for when we have more small screws. Got both of these cabinets fixed, so what we did was we put in, or cut the door a bit, put in the backing plate there, and then put the part we cut out in the bottom so that it'll open a bit better. And then I've been doing all kinds of small stuff. Installed a reading light back there. And, well, various other maintenance things. Still stuff to do, but they'll have to be done in the cold. During the winter of 21-22, before our planned trip, we did manage to install a light bar in front to give us a bit more light in the dark winters of Finland and the Nordics. We put in some storage thingamajigs for stuff to have it on the back door, so basically our snow shovel, our axe, our small saw are easily accessible just by opening the back door. Because I also picked up snowboarding, we needed to install a way to carry my snowboard so that it isn't all in the living area when we're traveling. We installed some extra latches and locks on the doors to better protect the van when we leave it. Everyone knows that Ford Transit van locks aren't the best possible, the factory locks, so we have additional ways of locking, especially the living area. We won't really go around showing them at the moment, but you can see the extra lock that we have on the sliding door in some clips at least. Then the original window frame that came with the window installed in the sliding door was too thick. So when we were opening the sliding door, it blocked the door from opening all the way. So we built our own custom frame. And because we're coffee fanatics, we have an AeroPress. And later on, Anna got me a mocha pot for Christmas to make coffee with that. And we also always have 1 or 2 bags of coffee around and everything. So we built on this shelf, we built this extra shelf to hold, or cabinet to hold our AeroPress coffee, mocha pot, AeroPress filters and everything related to making coffee. So that brings us pretty much to the end of all of the changes that we've done to the van. 2021 was a bit of a blur. I spent quite a bit of the year in courses or trainings related to civil protection. I was also deployed as a part of the European Union civil protection mechanism to Moldova as a response to...
Wasn't that 2022?
Yeah.
You said 21.
Okay, yeah. Okay, so talking about 2022, but yeah, I was deployed to Moldova for 3 weeks as a part of the European Union response. But still we managed to make a few small trips in Finland, and we also spent 7 weeks, 8 weeks, something like that, in the autumn driving around Central Europe. We had planned to go to a few dog shows in the Baltics and Poland, finish up plans that COVID had messed up way back when, and then I had a work trip that I needed to do to Amsterdam. So from Poland we headed up to Amsterdam, and then from there we started a bit of vacation and took our time coming back through Central Europe and just enjoying our trip. We didn't film at all during that trip. It was pretty much intentional that we didn't film. We just didn't feel like dealing with that additional stress. And then that pretty much brings us to almost where we are currently. Now this is embarrassing. We bought a set of lithium cells, some heating pads, a battery management system, and built a housing for all of it, and replaced our house AGM battery with it. We managed to go from 200 amp hours, of which 100 amp hours was usable, to 280 amp hours with about 230 amp hours of usable battery power, with about half the space and half the weight, or in fact, a third of the weight. So all in all, great success. The next videos that we'll be publishing will be about our trip earlier this year, starting in the very end of February or the beginning of March. We went to Great Britain for pretty much 2 months. Altogether, our trip lasted a bit over 2 months, and we were in the UK for nearly 8 weeks. So those will be the next videos. I'm not exactly sure how many of them there will be, but let's get to editing those then.